Well, hello there, stranger. I'm sure we've met somewhere before. Um, Paul here. Missing you guys, missing being in school and getting to know some of you and getting to spend time in classes and in assemblies. So I can't believe it's been a whole year now since all of this kicked off. But at least there are a few encouraging signs in the horizon. Hopefully, it won't be too much longer. But it's Easter holidays. They've come around already. It's our Easter holidays, and it wouldn't be an Easter assembly without a few bad bunny jokes. So let's kick off with those. What's the Easter bunny's favourite kind of music? Country and Western? No, no, it's not. It's hip hop, of course. How did the Easter bunny feel after hiding all of those chocolate eggs? Well, naturally, he felt exhausted. Okay. And what do you get if you pour warm water down a rabbit hole? Well, you get a hot cross bunny. What else would you get? Okay. Now, Easter assembly. So we're going to hear just a wee bit about the Easter story and about what Easter's about. But before then, I'm going to do something that I think you'll agree, hopefully, is quite amazing. I am going to read your minds. I'm going to attempt to read your minds. And for this, you're going to need to do a little bit of, you're going to need to do some sums, and you're also going to need to do some spelling. So if those aren't what you're particularly good at just now, or you're quite young and haven't done much in the way of sums yet, get a grown up to help you at this point. Okay, so here's what I need you to do. I need you to choose a number between 1 and 10. Okay, that's quite easy. Now what I need you to do is to multiply that number by 9. All right, you might need some help for that part. So multiply your first number by 9. Okay, most of you at this point will be thinking of a number that's got 2 digits. If so, add them together. If you just started with 1 digit, that's okay. Right. Now the number that you're thinking of at the moment, take away 5. Got it? Okay. So the number that you're thinking of now, I want you to think of the letter in the alphabet that corresponds to that number. So 1 is A, 2 is B, 3 is C, and so on. Okay. So the number that you've got, work out what letter of the alphabet that corresponds to. You might need to use your fingers. If you're thinking of a number that is 26 or beyond 26, then you have gone wrong somewhere, okay? Because there's only 26 letters in the alphabet. Okay, hopefully you should by now have a letter of the alphabet. What I want you to do is to think of a country with that letter, a country that begins with that letter, okay? Country that begins with the letter you were thinking of. Okay, what I want you to do now is to take the second letter of that country's name, and I want you to think of an animal that begins with that letter. You with me? So you're thinking of an animal that begins with the second letter of the country you were thinking of. I told you this was going to get complicated. And then lastly, and you'll be relieved that this is the last step, I want you to think of the colour of that animal. Okay. So this is where the tricky part comes in now. I need to summon my powers. Ooh, okay. Right, something's coming through. I think that a good number of you are thinking of a grey elephant from Denmark. Am I right? Is that what you were thinking of? A grey elephant from Denmark? There you go. Amazing. How does he do it? What's his secret? How does he manage it? Well, it is, of course, just a trick. And if you're smart, I reckon many of you will have worked out how that works just by having gone through it there. If you haven't worked it out and you can't work it out, next time you see me, come up and tell me that and I'll tell you how it works. But yeah, most of the time, nearly always, it ends up being a grey elephant from Denmark. There's no great mystery to it. But that can't be said about the Easter story. It is, in many ways, a great mystery, the original Easter story, which is, I suppose, a follow-on from Christmas. Christmas, we think about the birth of Jesus and all that went with that, but we forget sometimes that Jesus grew up to be a child, and then a teenager, then a young man, and then a more mature man. And Jesus stayed at home with his mum. We think maybe his dad died when he was young. And so Jesus stayed at home and looked after his mum for the first 30 years of his life and worked as a carpenter. But then he began to go around the countryside teaching people about God and doing some amazing things, because he had power from God to help people in particular ways. He could heal them. He had power over nature as well. He told some amazing stories. And everywhere he went around the country of Israel, or Palestine, as it's known, people would follow him. They wanted to see what he was going to do next. And they were really excited, and the crowds got bigger and bigger and bigger, and the amazing things just kept getting more and more amazing as time went on. But not everybody was happy with this. The rulers, the Romans and the religious leaders of the day were not happy about Jesus doing these things, because all the people were going to him and listening to him and not to them. And so they hatched a plan to get rid of him. And they weren't just going to get rid of him, they were going to do something really bad. And I need to get my little prop here, because what they did was they arranged to have him killed. It's horrible. And they put him on this cross, and they left him there to die. That's the way the Romans killed people in those days when they wanted to get rid of them. And so poor Jesus, who had been a good man, indeed the Son of God, was put to death on the day that we call Good Friday at Easter time. And of course, everybody was really sad about that. His friends and his family were just devastated, really upset that this had happened. It's awful. But thankfully, the story of Easter doesn't stop there, because just 3 days later, on the Sunday, God gave Jesus back his life in a way that's never happened before or since, in a thing that we call the resurrection, the coming back to life again. Why did God do that? Well, to show us that Jesus was a good man and that we should listen to what he says, but also to give us hope, because all of us in different ways come face to face with death. And maybe even some of you over this past year have had to face the fact that people that you love die. Jesus coming back from death shows us that death doesn't get the last word in our lives, that God does. And that's an important thing to remember whenever death affects people that you know and that you love. So that gives us some hope, even in the face of the worst things that can happen to us in life. So that's the amazing story of Easter. That's what happened the very first Easter. But speaking of amazing, I have to say you guys in school have been amazing over this past year. It's been an incredibly challenging time for everybody, for pupils and for parents and for staff. And I just want to say two things really to you. Firstly, well done. You've stuck at it. You've kept going. It's been incredibly difficult, but with all the changes and all the different things you've had to think through, you've kept going. And that's just a remarkable thing. And so I want to congratulate you all on that and say a big well done for sticking at it. And particularly, I think, to the staff who've always had to constantly change things as they go through, and to parents for sticking with and helping their children out during the long lockdown where they haven't been able to be at school. But I also want to say, I wish you all a very happy Easter, and I hope that you get rested up. I hope that you manage to get out and about as best you can and to have fun, to enjoy the fresh air, and hopefully the good weather. And all being well, who knows, I might even get to see you in school before the assembly for the summer term. I'm really hoping that that's the case. But it's been lovely to have the chance to talk to you today, and I hope you enjoy your holidays. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.